Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa alihi tahirin. We are continuing our lessons of Tawheed, monotheism, and atheism. And we're going to talk today about the purpose of human creation or the purpose of life. So, the purpose of life is a very, very important question. Atheism cannot offer a real and suitable answer to the real purpose of life. It cannot give a lasting meaning to life, as atheism results in living a life of vanity, living a life of meaninglessness, emptiness, temporal things. And without an everlasting aim, one lives a life and then dies, lives a life, dies, and he's no more. Such a life is empty. Such a life is lacking meaning. It's an empty life. It's lacking significant meaning. Yes, you may find some temporal things to fill the voids, but it will never really fill the real need. It'll be temporal. It won't be enough. It lacks real significant meaning of an everlasting aim. So atheism cannot offer a real meaning to life, a real purpose of human life. The goal or purpose or aim of human creation is a question which holds very much importance for humanity. This is not some trivial question. This is not some small question. This is a very, very, very important question. And answering this question of what is my purpose of life? What is the purpose of life for human creation? Answering this question can serve as a motivation toward either the right direction or the wrong direction. So, depending on what one's answer is to this purpose of life, one can go either the right direction or the wrong direction in this temporal abode, this temporal life in dunya. So it's very important to have the right answer for the purpose of human creation. Now, if we want to look at it from the Quranic perspective, from the Quranic verses, if we want to look into the Quranic verses, we find that Allah the Exalted tells us about this vital question, this very important question, and we can bring these verses here. We could bring these verses here. And when we bring these verses, we see that there are three sets of verses that we can bring here. All three of these verses, they actually agree. They can be reconciled together. They're part of one idea, one system idea with one aim. So let's have a brief discussion on these verses of the Holy Quran. So the first verse about the purpose of life mentions that the purpose of life is to serve Allah, to worship Allah. This is in Surah 51, ayat 56. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ الْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I have not created the jinn and the mankind except that they should serve me. So see, the aim of creation of jinn and mankind is to serve Allah, is to worship Allah, is to have servitude to Allah. This is very important. Very, very important. That we obey Allah and we don't disobey Allah. The second set of verses talk about the purpose of life as being test. The purpose of life is for tests. So we have the first one, you have Surah 18, Ayat 7. Inna ja'alna ma'ala al-ardi zinatan laha linabluwahum ayyuhum ahsanu amala. Certainly, surely, we have made whatever is on the earth as a zina, as an adornment for it, so that we may test linabluwahum. So we may try, we may test them. Ayyuhum, which of them all? Ahsanu amalan, which of them is best in deeds. And then we have in Surah 67, Ayat 2. So before we move to that ayat, look at this ayat. Ayat 18, 7. Allah has created what is on the earth as a zina, as an adornment, to test us which of us is best in deeds. So notice that when you come to something that you're prohibited to do and you want to do it, it seems embellished to you, seems adorning to you, seems good to your eyes, good to your tongue. Remember, why is that thing created? Why is that thing a zina to you? Because linabluwahum ayyuhum ahsanu amala, to test you which of you is best in deeds. How are you going to act with the things that Allah has given you? It goes back to what I was saying in the last lesson, that evil is when somebody misuses the good things that Allah has created. So these things you're being tested with. Now look at Surah 67, Ayat 2. Alladhi khalaqa al-mauta wal-hayata liyabluwakum ayyukum ahsanu amala wa huwa al-azizul ghafur. So that he created the death and the life to test you all, which of you all is best in deeds. And he is the mighty Al-Aziz, Al-Ghafur, and the forgiving. So here you look at this ayat. It says that the death and the life, dying and living, is to test us. So we have these two ayats in the second one. The zina of the earth, the death and the life are to test us, which of us are best in deeds. Okay. So we have now two sets of ayats. One ayat group said that it's for servitude, for worship of Allah. The other one said that the life, the death, and the adornment of the world is for to test us which of us is best in deeds. So now, are these conflicting meanings? Is it test and or obedience, or it's what is it? Well, let's see the third type of ayat. The third classification of the ayat is the ayat that talks about the purpose being for the mercy of Allah the Exalted. So we have in Surah 11, ayat 118 and 119. وَلَوْ شَاءَ رَبُّكَ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ إِلَّا مَنْ رَحِمَ رَبُّكَ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. See? And if your Lord had pleased, he would certainly have made people one nation, one ummah, ummatan wahida. He would have made them a single nation, and they shall continue to differ, except those on whom your Lord has mercy. Illa man rahima rabuka. Now here it comes. Okay, except for those upon whom your Lord has mercy. وَلِذَلَكَ خَلَقَهُمْ. And for that did he create them. For that did he create them. So And then it continues, the English of it, as the word of your Lord is fulfilled. Certainly I will fill the hell with the jinn and the men all together. Ajma'in. Okay, so this verse says that the purpose, that we can understand, so we can understand from this ayat that the purpose of human creation is to obtain the mercy of Allah the Exalted. Okay, so now we have 3 sets of ayat. One may argue that all these noble verses agree with each other because worship, servitude to Allah the Exalted, and doing the best of deeds and being tested, succeeding in the test are all in line with the goal, the purpose of obtaining the mercy of Allah the Exalted. So the goal and purpose is to obtain the mercy of Allah the Exalted, and that is achieved by obedience to Allah and not doing disobedience to Allah, by servitude to Allah, by worship to Allah, and succeeding in the test with amalo, with ahsanu amala, with the best of deeds. And also this shows even our fitra, our innate inclination, is pointing toward the true aim of human creation. Another point is that we can say that prophethood is in the aim of human purpose because humans do not know everything. Hence Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends some very important guidance through books and prophets and messengers to humanity, even though he is also giving them the proof of aql, of intellect. It is not enough on its own. Therefore, to be able to successfully succeed in the test and in the worship, to successfully succeed in obtaining the mercy of Allah the Exalted by obeying Allah, doing what Allah has told us to do, to succeed in this test and to know where to go and which way we must turn, then we must follow the authentic messages, and those messages are sent through prophets and books. So Allah sends hidayah to mankind through these means. So the prophethood and the messengers and the books are in line with human purpose. They are the facilitating us with the correct approach, how to do it, the how to do it. We're told we must do it, now how to do it. So now we need to know the how to do it. Allah is allowing us to know the how to do it. So the purpose of human life is to obtain the mercy of Allah the Exalted through obedience to Allah, through succeeding in the best of deeds, through worshiping Allah the Exalted. This is the reaching to obtain the mercy of Allah the Exalted. This is felicity. This is success for the human. Okay, other issue. We have a claim, kind of an atheistic claim. The claim says evil happens due to religion. It says there's evil in the world, but that's because of religion. This is not the case because non-religious people do a lot of evil, So answer, evil actions occur to people's misuse. Evil actions, like I was saying before, are occurring because of people's misuse of the good things that Allah the Exalted has allowed. Hence, the bad actions of a group of people who claim to be from a religion or are from a religion cannot tarnish the pure and goodness of the authentic line of religion. If somebody does evil actions, that doesn't tarnish the religion itself. Even if someone comes up with something, some false belief in some group of that religion, they believe that thing, and that thing supports evil, it doesn't tarnish the real authentic line of that religion. So the real authentic line of religion that God sends, that Allah sends, that is not evil whatsoever. That is good. What's bad and what's evil is people's bad actions. So it's not religion's fault. It's not authentic religion's fault. It's people's evil actions that's the problem. That is what we should be looking at, not the authentic line of religion. Since authentic religion is against oppression, is against dhulm and injustice, and against doing evil actions. Also, it is not, it is also, it is not a mistake to say the biggest crimes and evils that occur are actually due to lack of religion, lack of authentic religion, that is. The biggest crimes in humanity and evils are occurring due to the lack of the right approach to life, the lack of justice, the lack of good, the lack of doing what is right, the lack of succeeding in the human purpose of doing the best of deeds, of doing doing servitude to God, and succeeding in a test to achieve His mercy. So it's a lack of authentic religion that's the problem. It's ignorance of it. It's not following it. That's the problem. So this claim is a false claim. Now we have one more topic to talk about, and then we could end this course. So I'm going to say it here, and then then this will be the last lesson, inshallah, of the course. So we have a claim, because I said in the beginning we had 4 different topics I wanted to address, and this is the last one. Does science and religion conflict each other? So the claim, science and religion are at conflict. So before we talk a little bit about this, we must understand a few points. The first point is science is an endeavor to discovery. So science is an endeavor to discovery, not a science, not a body of knowledge that knows everything. So before we start using science to judge everything, we have to understand what science actually is. Science is a science of discovery, not a body of knowledge that actually knows everything. Second point, some scientific ideas are not complete. They're incomplete ideas. Maybe the research could be wrong. They didn't find all the proofs. They don't have proper evidence. Other views could be established about it. And hence, some ideas change when new discoveries happen. If you look at the history and development of science, you'll see that it developed. Just like look at medical science as example. It's developed through many, many years and still developing. They're still searching and looking for new things. So science is a science of discovery. And sometimes they get a theory, a view, and then a new discovery happens and they change that view. And some ideas get rejected, some ideas get refined due to some new discoveries that happen. The third point is that there are different types of scientific knowledge. When we talk about scientific knowledge, there are different types. First type is fact. Something is 100% fact. Okay, no problem over here. That should be no problem. The second type are possibilities, incomplete researches, faulty researches, things that may need more discovery, only possibilities. That one is where we fall into some problems. So let's answer this claim that science and religion are at conflict. We believe that Islam and scientific facts do not conflict. Rather, they will have an agreement and harmony together. In fact, all creation is a sign pointing to the existence of God, a sign pointing to His authority, a sign pointing to His power. Therefore, the problem is in those things which are not actually scientific facts, but are assumed scientific things, like the theory of evolution. The theory of evolution is faulty. The evidence is not fully there. Secondly, from Islamic perspective, from Shia Islam, we have things that we could bring as possible arguments that there were other creatures on this earth before us that were like us, but they weren't us. Evolution itself is lacking the evidence when they go look at the actual evidence for it. Also, we have, from religious perspective, we have some things that could be brought as arguments against evolution. So evolution is a faulty thing. It come from Prophet Adam. Prophet Adam only came so long ago, and so there's no evolution in regards to Prophet Adam. Science is in progress, discovery, and similarly, archaeology. Hence, there are things that these sciences might discover which are true and useful, yet at other times there are things they may not discover. They may lack, they may not have found it, they may not have found the evidence. Things which they cannot understand also may appear to them. They may not be able to understand these things. They may misinterpret it. Even till this day, well, we have a text that's maybe 1,000 years old, or 2,000 years old, or 3,000 years old. There's difference of opinion sometimes on understanding even single words. So things which they cannot understand sometimes, or things which they do not know sometimes. Humans are in disagreement and ignorance on many things, even small things, let alone very big questions. And humans are ignorant of many things, let alone big things. Even in this very earth right now, there's so many creatures and things possibly that humans have not discovered, even in the sea alone. So Islam and science are not at a clash. They're not contradicting each other. And in fact, many Muslim scientists Allah has allowed to be involved in this process of discovery, which has been a big blessing from Allah the Exalted to mankind. Take example Ibn Sina, or Avicenna, they say in Latin, in the field of medicine. In his field of medicine alone, his work was translated into Latin at the Latin translation movement in Muslim Spain, and then transferred to the West. And even though now medicine has progressed in this and discovered a lot more and has progressed and developed much more, this medical book had a tremendous impact on medieval Europe in a good way. The impact of Islam on the world of thinking, science, and discovery is tremendous. It's tremendous. And people have written about this. People have researched about this. And sometimes maybe this goes on, maybe this goes ignored, right? Maybe people don't pay attention to this. They want to attribute everything to someone else, or they just really don't know. So no, we don't believe that religion and authentic science, real science, is in contradiction. Also, we believe that everything in creation is a sign pointing to the existence of God. So we have in Surah Yunus, Surah 10, Ayat 6, Inna fi ikhtilafi al-layli wa-nahari wa-ma khalaqa Allahu وَمَا خَلَقَ اللَّهُ فِي السَّمَوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَتَّقُونَ. Verily, certainly, in the differences, or they transinterpret as variations of the night and the day, and what Allah created in the heavens and the earth, certainly are signs for a people who they translate it as guard, but this taqwa, who have people of taqwa, people who are having taqwa. So Islam and science doesn't disagree. Islam and science are in agreement, are in a harmony. Where we find disagreement is on certain scientific uh, uh, ideas that we may have proof against. So we have now covered all the questions that I said we were going to do in this course. We have talked about the existence of God and arguments for it. We have argued, we have given proofs. We have talked about causality and creation. We have talked about, is there something which God cannot do? We have talked about, why does evil happen? What is evil? And we have talked about, is science in conflict with religion? So here I will end this course, inshallah. I will prepare an exam, inshallah, and post it on the group. Wa akhiru dawana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.